Most of my formative years, most been an East Sider. Grew up on around the Keith Street area, that whole pocket of Milwaukee. Um, Ring and I mean, I have still have a strong connection to the East Side. I think I've moved on up in my East Side living to more, I don't know, industrial business area of Milwaukee to a more, I don't know, socially upwardly mobile area than was my original upbringing. I grew up in a very impoverished neighborhood during a very violent time in Milwaukee's history. I started out rapping, so I mean, it always inspired me to be creative, being a latchkey kid and whatnot. It made me super introspective, and so I think that led to me having this creative personality. And I went to 38th Street School, which was an open education school here in Milwaukee, and it was one of the first schools before they had any Montessori schools in Milwaukee system that tried the Montessori model. We didn't have grades, and it was a lot of bohemians that educated us. Miss Shimkowski was my art teacher, and she took a liking to me. It was back in the days of koala pads and the first internet and number munchers and whatnot. And so I had experience with people who were living an artistic lifestyle, and I think it made it seem more possible for me, coming from that. And as I got older, going to different schools and seeing people who had chose to have live a more artistic lifestyle, made it seem more possible for me. I mean, my grandmother was probably my biggest influence when it comes to art, because she always got me interested in music, and she was such a caring and giving woman. She worked at the mail program at St. Gauls Church, and so she gave me a sense of humanity, and I think that was probably what stuck with me the most in my art, is this reverence for being giving and caring and altruism, that I got from my grandmother. I think when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of my writing, Dr. Kelly was my mentor for a while, and for a few years, and I think I developed most of my style from listening to her and learning from her the way that she wrote. And she was one of the first people to edit any of my poems and give me any advice about my performances, and I think that really helped to shape and mold me. So the easiest way to say this, my grandmother helped me see my view of the world, shape my view of the world, and Dasha taught me how to kick and turn and twist my words into poetic form. But as I've grown in my art and gotten away from those formative years with my writing, I think I've taken on a lot of other mentors, whether they're direct or otherwise. If we're talking about Patricia Smith or Buddy Wakefield or a million other writers who have influenced my style, and when it comes to spoken word and my writing, when it comes to literary stuff. I think in my formative years, my grandmother tried to give me a strong religious upbringing. I was an altar boy, believe it or not, and so I think she wanted me to empathize with other people and see people as human, and I think that helps with my work. I think that was the catalyst by which she taught me about the world, and the prism that I viewed the world through was my religion and my family structure, being loving and what it meant to be a father, an uncle, a friend in a family. I think that is partially what makes me as empathetic as I can be when I am empathizing with other people. But I try to keep my personal life separate from my work enough that I can function. If you get too personal with your writing in a transparent kind of way, everything starts to meld together and you don't have no me time. So I think I try to keep the two fairly separate, but at the same time, I want to express myself in a personal way.